And you tell me that you don't collect no more pay and your belly is growing lean.
Want to know what you guys consider to be some of the strongest, most important accomplishments of the Occupy movement so far, and then what you're hoping to see in 2012. Yeah, you want to go ahead and start since you provided the segue?
So the strongest accomplishment is that it's changed U.S. political rhetoric for good. There was a research study by, I think it was the Pew Institute, that basically said like a few years ago this like a lower percentage, and then it was like 50%, but 70%, 76% I think it was, said that they blame the rich for the wealth inequality. It's something that Occupy's definitely changed that rhetoric, and I think it's definitely here to stay in terms of making sure that people know who's to blame, which it's not us, it's the 1%. I think the other biggest accomplishments are around, putting civil disobedience back front and center. Like the reason why Occupy first started is because people wanted to reclaim public spaces, not only in anger, but in hope of forming a new society, or like what society we want to envision. And then the other things is that it's not about just fighting against the economic inequality or environmental justice or social justice. It actually puts all of that together. So Occupy SF has taken issues up around housing, immigrants' rights. NDAA is here now, so there's been a lot of actions around that, and so it continues to highlight the many economic, social, and environmental injustices and how we want to fight them. Oh, and then in terms of 2012, I just want to say that there's Occupy Education has formed, and now we are taking up the issue around the budget cuts, and there's a call on March 1st and on March 5th, one for Local Day of Action, but March 5th is an action that will occupy Sacramento, occupy the Capitol, in the Capitol building, Madison style, and that it's already international. And that's the other thing, is that Occupy is now an international movement, a global movement, and it's like amazing to see. And the fact that like it's just taking on these new ideas or new forms rather, because now there's also neighborhood occupies in the Bernal, potential to start an Occupy mission. The list goes on and on. So.
When I was a freshman in college, it was the year 2000, and that's when George Bush stole the election. So basically my entire adult life has been politically pretty dark. It's been scary, right-wing, unspeakable, came out of nowhere, horrible political world. And now that Occupy's come around, I really feel hopeful, and so many people feel hopeful. So that's, I think, the greatest accomplishment so far, is the destruction of hopelessness and apathy. Another great thing I think we've done is moved so many people into credit unions and told people, you don't have to be with Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Citibank. And I really think that when Bank of America withdrew its $5 debit card fee, I think that's because of Occupy, and who knows how many billions of dollars that is going to save everyday people throughout the years. I think that's an amazing accomplishment. What I would most like to see happen this year would be the perpetrators of the 2008 financial collapse to go to jail. I think that they should go to jail. And I would really like to see a raise in the estate tax, the capital gains tax. I want to see tuition fees go down, and those would be what I would want to see.
So, not only has Occupy changed the rhetoric for political discussion, it has opened up discussion for everyday people. Not only are we seeing it outside of our lives, but directly inside of our lives. In the beginning, it was such a draw for people. You could go anywhere and people would be talking about the Occupy movement. I remember walking into In-N-Out, a burrito shop, and people had things to say. It was on their mind. It had awoken what everybody felt, but didn't really know how to articulate it at some point, or at least for me. You knew you were frustrated with the system. You kind of knew something was wrong, but you didn't really know how to put it into words or really to know how to sum it up. And so I think it brought a lot of the angst and confusion that a lot of people had the ability to materialize it and open the discussion to an everyday thing. And then so for 2012, the biggest thing right now I would like to see is the education part, is really occupying the education and then also occupying our food supply. The biggest thing is nutrition. And really getting that down. What I've done since I've left is I've started to learn how to cook raw, how to not get processed food, and really start taking charge of not putting the blame so much out there, but taking responsibility for what I'm doing in my everyday life. So educating people that it's not only out there that we can make changes, but small things in our everyday life.
Thank you. I think that just the changing the vocabulary of conversation everywhere. I have walked down downtown streets and listened to conversation, and I've even heard banker folks saying to each other, "I don't think the 99% would like you very much," and just using phrases like that in their conversation that they might have never said before has woken up the entire community to what's going on, not just the 99 who've been going to the camps and coming to them. So I think that raise in consciousness has been extremely important for the movement. I think that just that there's this incredible energy that has come forth, and every single area of action has come together, and I find that very exciting. That maybe they felt like they were kind of working in the trenches alone, and not too much attention given to what the problems were in housing or education or healthcare, and feeling kind of alone. And then suddenly this big movement comes. And I was listening to somebody talk about the pipeline situation, the pipeline, the protest against it. And we were asking each other, is Occupy a good thing or not? And someone said, of course it is. It's going to bring us all these people. And suddenly you had a lot more people that fought back against that. And that actually happened during the Occupy time. It caught some movements by surprise. And suddenly they had so many more people participating during actions that were planned during this time. And so that kind of segues into what I want to say, see happen. I want to see that continue, that when you have housing groups, for example, in coalition, fighting together against foreclosures and having 15 groups instead of one who might have not done anything, that's what I'd like to see continue in 2012, is these incredible coalition groups and people joining them. And then not only just the groups, but just all of us getting educated about the issues. Like, for example, when they had the port shut down in Oakland and in the West Coast, we all got to learn things about labor issues. It wasn't just people involved in labor. I want to see the ongoing education for all of us about everyone's issue, not just the ones that we know about, so that we're collectively educating ourselves as well. I'll stop there.
So I would echo what everyone said here. One of the groups that I'm involved with at Occupy, besides Direct Action, is the Occupy SF Housing Group, which also works closely with the Occupy Bernal Group, ACE, which is the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. This housing coalition has joined up together. We've saved people's houses. We've done work to get mortgage reorganizations for these people so people can actually afford to stay in their house. We're putting pressure on banks to keep the idea of switching to fair practices primary in their minds. I think that's really important. I think we've drawn light to a lot of issues, that this isn't just one collective problem. This isn't an anti-war movement. The anti-war movement is involved in this. The idea is that the 1% is responsible for maintaining this sort of inequity or injustice in all of these systems throughout our life. And I think as long as we can continue to focus on that and draw attention to that, we're successful. In the future, for 2012, I would like to see this sort of global change in consciousness, or at least national change of consciousness, continue. I think we've been really close to a totalitarian government for a while. In my life, I've been an activist for 16 years, and it seems that I've fought a lot of the same things my whole life. But I think this movement is actually getting people out to participate in democracy, not just elect officials to go do our work for us, but actually to come out of the woodwork and say, you know what, this is my country. Like, of course I'm supposed to be political. Of course I'm supposed to be the change that this country needs to see. It's our duty. So I hope that continues to spread, and I hope people realize that this is the effective way to really mobilize change in this country. Otherwise, the consequence of that is really, really scary. If this movement doesn't succeed in toppling the system that is for and by the wealthy, we're screwed, to put it bluntly.